So, hi Japsimran, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am absolutely fine. Firstly, thank you so much for joining me today. Uh, and today is Sunday, so I really appreciate your time. So, without wasting much of our time, let's have a quick introduction from you.
As you said, my name is Jabsimran. I'm a PhD. I'm based out of Florida, USA. So, I did my undergrad from India, from
Okay,
Chandigarh, uh, from 2011 2015. Then I
okay,
came to US for doing my master's. Um, I'm a civil engineer by profession. Specifically, I'm a structural engineer. I basically I design buildings and bridges. That's how you want to say. And then after coming to US, I did my master's from Virginia Tech from 2016 to 2017. Then I started doing my PhD again at Virginia Tech, and now I'm a graduate engineer at a structural engineering firm.
okay. So, nice journey. So, we would like to know a little more about this journey. So, the first things first, how to select a university for MS and then for a PhD program. We would like to know your experience and, of course, what you would want to tell the aspirants about it.
That's a really good question. So how I approached it was I was looking at a bunch of factors to select universities. The first one, which I was really looking into, was research because I was really interested in doing PhD. So I wanted to do PhD right from the beginning. So I was looking into research. So I was
Mm-hmm.
looking into something like for structural engineering, you basically need big laboratories,
Mm-hmm.
big equipments, big um, like good faculty, good research faculty. That's what I was looking into. The first thing, and the second thing that I think people should consider for sure is quality of teaching. So better the faculty, more experienced the faculty,
Mm-hmm.
um, it'll be better for you. So if it's a university which is a graduate program in a university um, which is good, which is set out really well, if the courses are something um, that you would want to take, that's where I would go. So that's what I was looking at. There were a few professors which I want where with whom I wanted to work with. That's what I looked at. There are a few other things which obviously when you come to US or when you go to any other foreign country, you're looking into. For example, scholarships. Um, just to give you a summary, it's pretty expensive here. So it's almost $13,000 to $15,000 in one semester of
Oh,
fees.
that's a
So
lot.
that's a lot. Living is separate, so you
Mm-hmm.
definitely need scholarship. If not in the first semester, but then probably in the first year, maybe the second semester or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Luckily, my dad did not take loans, so he was able to fund me all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was lucky to get an assistantship from the second semester, so that was
Which
good.
basically means that you work as an assistant to a professor and you get paid for that, right?
That's right. So there are two types of assistantships. You can either do a teaching assistantship where you're basically looking at you're just a teaching assistant to a professor, so you're correcting copies, assignments, maybe sometimes exams, um, and other things like that. Maybe making assignments and making exams, like helping professor in teaching activities. The other one is a research assistantship. So if you, for example, if I went to do a PhD, you would typically get a research assistantship because you're getting paid to work or do research on a particular topic. So
Okay, so just to sum it up, in India probably we look for the ranking of an institute to do an engineering maybe,
yeah,
or maybe we look for something like a ranking to do a PhD or a master's. But in US you probably look for how the institute is for the research if you're actually wanting to do a research, and also you look for the faculty. when you're talking about faculty, how do you choose that?
So, as I said, I mean, it's probably the experience that I would take into account. How many publications the professor has, how much experience in a particular field that you're looking to go into. For example,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking to do research into concrete initially, concrete bridges. So I was looking into professors who were doing the work in that field.
Mm-hmm.
If they are experienced, how many papers they have had, if they have connections in the industry. That's something that really helps you. Even if you do not want to do research, if your
Mm-hmm.
professors have good connections in the industry, then you can get a job after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've had many friends who have got jobs because professors recommended them. So that's what I would look at. Um, Second question that you had was about rank. Second thing that you talked about was rankings. So rankings, yes, you should look at rankings, but with a grain of salt, obviously. Um, so they're all private rankings, and it's not. I mean, they pay universities, or universities pay them to pretty much give out those rankings, right? So generally there are tier one, tier two, tier three universities. So typically, in terms of engineering, you would think like MITs and Berkeley and like Oxford, University of Oxford or something like that would be a tier one colleges, right? Harvard University and um, other universities like that. But then something like Virginia Tech would be a tier two university or something like that. So how I approached it was that I divided the universities into three parts.
Mm-hmm.
One which was um, you can say not one you can say within reach for me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and one was which was safe university, which I knew that if I apply to it, I'll definitely get into. And then one was which I thought was out of reach for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I did apply to at least three or four universities in each category.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're lucky enough that you get one out of reach university for you, and then you're good to go there. Otherwise, I mean, there are many factors which come into account. I mean, out of reach universities will be universities which have higher fees and other things like that. So you also need to take that into account. So you might consider a safer university which has a lower fee than a university which is within your reach and which is
Correct.
better than the safer university. So there are
Mm-hmm.
there are many things to look into.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the next question that comes is, how do you apply? So when once you're chosen, then how do you apply? What is the route?
So typically, most of the applications are online applications. So so there's two types of requirements that you have. One is a graduate school requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, when you do a master's, you're all graduates. So there's a graduate school in a university which looks after students which are graduates or PhD level.
Correct.
So so there's a graduate school requirement which basically shunts out all the applications on the basis of two exams, which is
Mm-hmm.
one being GRE, which is your
Mm-hmm.
graduate record examination, and then your second one is TOEFL, which is
It's basically
uh,
English exam.
English, yeah, then English proficiency test basically.
Yeah.
So GRE is typically valid for 5 years, and TOEFL is valid for 2 years if you plan to give it. Um, so these two, so there are like cutoffs set by different universities that you need to at least have so much score in these two examinations to at least be considered a candidate for masters or a PhD in our university. So
Okay.
once that graduate requirement is passed, then your application gets down to the departmental level, and then they also have a GRE or a TOEFL requirement, depending on which department you're applying to. Um, and then they also look at different stuff, which is like a statement of purpose, where you try to write, which is probably the most important, I think. It's a two-page statement where you're trying to um, tell the professors or faculty
Mm-hmm.
that faculty that you're deserving, and then you want to why do you want to um, join the college, and how you will be helping them and how they will be helping you pretty much. So and then the Fourth one is probably so GRE, TOEFL, SOP, and then finally is LOR, which is letter of recommendations. So typically, universities do require at least 3 letter of recommendations from different faculty. So for example, I got 3 LORs from my professors where I did my undergrad from. They write those LORs and then they send it out online um, along with the application that I sent online. They get a separate link and then they send it out to the university.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, it is about GRE, then TOEFL, then your statement of purpose,
Yep.
and then of course your recommendations.
That's right.
So do you need to work equally hard for all 4 things, or it is just you work for maybe you clear the cutoff and then it is easier to get into any university? Because in India or in the other parts of the world, it is basically about clearing a cutoff and then getting into a university, right?
Yep.
So how different it is from probably the countries like India and some other countries of the world.
So GRE is probably something that you don't need to study too much for. At least that's what I think after my experience. I did take tuitions for GRE and TOEFL. To be very frank, so basically GRE is divided into 2 sections. One is quant and one is verbal. So quant is basically your basic mathematics, right? Whatever you have studied in your undergrad until your undergrad. And then verbal is your English proficiency. So they do have an English proficiency in GRE as well, but it's not as hard as TOEFL. I think we as Indians are, most of us are, I would say, um, not. I mean, I would say decent at English, right? We are not great at English. So if you want to at least pass that graduate school requirement for GRE and TOEFL for at least tier 1 colleges like MITs and other universities, which have a good really high cutoff for GRE and TOEFL, you should consider taking tuitions for GRE and TOEFL. Um, as far as LOR is concerned, I think everybody has good contacts in their university, so they should get at least 2 or 3 LORs. Finally, what I think is that once you pass that GRE TOEFL requirement, um, SOP is probably the thing that you need to work the most on. It's just 2 pages. So just think of it. That's the only way. They're not taking any interviews or anything. That's your only chance to tell the faculty that how deserving you are. And if you try to be really smart in that, and that's probably your way into a good university. That's what I think.
Fair. So thank you for that answer.
Yeah.
The next thing that I would want to ask is a little light. What to expect in the US? How is it different from India? And how have your journey been?
So US is a good country. I think it's really different from where we come from, like from India in general. It's a very diverse country, so we as Indians feel that we are very diverse. I think US is a hub where pretty much people from all the different countries come. India is not a country where people from all countries come and study like in different colleges. So you'll get a very diverse group of people. Um, so you need to be respectful to everybody. You cannot take everything for granted. You definitely need to make new friends. You need to mingle with other people. That's something that I heard I learned the hard way, because if you don't mingle with the different people, then you will definitely be an outsider for them all the time. So you need to do that. And then um, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, just enjoy yourself. So whenever you get time on Saturdays and Sundays, maybe do some extracurricular activities. Um, do I used to play badminton on Saturdays and Sundays, so that's what I used to do. It's a beautiful country. I think there are a few things that you definitely need to learn at least. America is a country where driving is really important. So you need to get a license very soon. It's not like India that you take a train and you go everywhere you want. So I would really learn, if I were you, if I were I would really learn driving, and then maybe go out different places. It's a really beautiful country. Go out to different mountains, different beaches. It's a clean country. Check out the nature. That's what I would do.
And how is the education different? How would you rate the education in the US as compared to probably India? So, had you selected maybe an IIT to do your master's in or a
Uh,
PhD in? How would that be different from where you have done now?
so I think IITs are good, but as far as research is concerned, I don't think IITs are still in par with the US universities. So I think the amount of research that comes out of these US universities is huge. The amount of money, the amount of research that comes out of these universities is great. The amount of
Mhm.
journal papers that come out, amount of respect that the professors get, um, is huge. So I think in terms of education, maybe quality of teaching is still not that bad in India. I would still rate it as same maybe as US, if not bad. But research is something that I would definitely come out to US for. Teaching is again, I mean,
Correct.
and professors are respectful. They let you. So one thing that I like about teaching in US is that they have different discussions. So it's not like they're putting pressure on you for to do assignments every now and then to take exams. Like exams it's not about exams in US. It's about how you learn things. They will discuss things in class, and they'll make it a friendly atmosphere so that everybody is at the same level. Everybody is growing at the same level. It's not about who's first and who's last. It's about everybody gets to the same level, and they get out of the university and get a good job. So,
So, did you bunk the classes in your masters?
uh, no. So this is probably I've bunked classes when I was doing my undergrad for sure, a lot of times. Um, but I don't think I've ever bunked any graduate level course. It's not worth it. For
Okay.
one, I think you're paying too much money to bunk a class. Second, I think the quality of education is great, and you're thinking about each that if you miss the class, then you will miss something. If you have that feeling in you, I don't think you will miss a class.
Okay. So, had you got a chance to come to the US for uh, your undergrad, would
Hmm.
that been a better decision as compared to what you have done now? I mean, you basically came for a master's, probably did your engineering from a good school in India, and
Yeah,
then came here for masters. Then had you come here for undergrad, would that be a better decision, or Indian education system is good enough to make you a great engineer?
I think again it comes down to. I mean, if you're hardworking, then you can probably get away with it. I would say. So I totally I'm a believer that universities don't matter actually. Even after doing PhD from a really good university, I don't think that you need to be from a good university to do a master's or PhD at MIT or something like that. So, but still, it really makes a difference. So if you I've seen my classmates who were with me in masters, and they did their undergrads from US, and I could feel the difference. I mean, that initial one semester difference where you're struggling is always going to be there if you come from a different country or a different university. Maybe if someone's from IIT, um, they have more background on the basics are very strong as far as engineering is concerned. So maybe they won't get um, that struggle.
So
But
basically, what you're saying is that the undergraduate programs in India in IITs are much better as compared to what it
hundred
is in.
percent, 100%. The
Okay.
quality of teaching. You can you can go on YouTube and just listen to any IIT videos. I mean, you'll come to know how good they teach. It's obviously not at par with universities in the US for sure, but it's really better than all the other universities. So it's either IITs or non-IITs, right? In India, that's how it has always been, because the teaching is really different. They teach you well. At least they think it's their responsibility to teach well. So that really makes a
Mhm.
difference for sure.
Okay. Okay. So now let's talk about the jobs and settlement.
Okay.
So, how difficult was it for you to get a job, your first job, probably after your PhD,
Hmm.
and how do you think that you're going to contribute to what you've learned now to the society as in general, and then probably maybe to your home country.
So when I came to US, the plan was to go back to India, but as far as giving back something to the home country, I feel civil engineering is a very low paid profession in India, specifically structural engineering. So even if I want to go back to India, I only have a few options.
Oh,
Probably only one option. If I get into academia, if I become a professor in India.
oh, that's a great idea.
So that's obviously in the back of my mind always, and you can always do that. If I want to go into industry, which I'm already in USA, I don't think I can survive in India. That's what I feel.
Okay.
So that's the home country part. And then what other question did you ask?
Uh, okay, so let me just rephrase the question. How easy was it to get a job in the US after your PhD? And then would you want to probably do something for your home country now that you have, taken an education which is par excellence?
Getting a job, I think everybody gets a job. At least everybody in my I've seen at least 5 batches because I was in Virginia Tech for at least 5 years. So I've seen people getting out every year, right? And I have not seen a single person who has not got a job. Uh, Everybody gets at least one job. I've seen people getting multiple jobs, so that's not an issue, and I don't think it's the job market is pretty huge here, so it should not be a problem getting a job. Um, how giving back to so as I said, I would probably the only way I can give back to my home country is by teaching from where I started. So
Yes,
that's how I would do.
producing good engineers is of course something which you can absolutely do. I agree.
Yeah, and I know the struggles, like how the quality of education is in India, and I've seen both sides of it, so I can apply that education back. Um, the good quality education which I got in US, I can apply back when I'm teaching in India. So that's what I can do. I'm not
That's
saying
a
that
great thought.
I'm not saying that Indian education system is bad. It has a different way of teaching. Um, I think the US education system is more comfortable. It makes you more comfortable. It gives you more chances to get back from failures and everything. Indian system is not forgiving. That's what I think. So either, but India has its own advantages. Um, you will never get your parents here. You have to go back to India to visit your parents. You will not get good food here for sure. Um, so if you're looking for something in between, you should probably look at Canada. It has your people. It has Indians more than it has in US, and then it has good food as well. So so it's a trade-off. I think if you want to settle down in a country where you feel money is important, where your lifestyle is important, then probably US is a good country for you. If you feel that um, living with your family and your culture and your food is more important to you, giving back to your home country is more important to you. Uh, you should stay in India, and you can still give back to your home country if you want. You can participate in different ventures. Um, you can teach classes online or anything like that. But yeah,
Absolutely. I think great thoughts. You should definitely do that, and probably, uh, you know, I really hope that your dream of giving back to your own country comes true. Thank you
I
so
hope so
much.
too. I hope
Thank
so
you
too.
so much for your time,
Thank you
and
so much.
I hope we have you again in this on my YouTube channel so that more people can know more about US and the education over there.
Yes, I would be more than happy to do another
Thank you
video
so
with you.
much.
Thank you so
So
much.
I hope everybody else got something out of this video, and if you liked this video, do subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank
Bye.
you.